Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 163 based on novel. So let's start. NA family, Sa-young's killing aura was terrifying. He said solemnly, killing them won't do us any good. And also, we can use NA's father as the bait. Master, you mean? The purple-clothed lady's eyes gleamed. NA's father, don't kill him. Kill the rest of them. Sa-young said indifferently, keep the father under our control. Who knows, NA-ku and the killer phone may return. Yes. The purple-clothed lady complied and left. Sa-young's gaze swept ahead at the few kilometers of ruins before him, from where he could hear the screams of pain. However, he was expressionless. He had indeed lost face this time, as he had lost 2 disciples and a special envoy, and on top of that, this was on his territory. Sa-young's face was ashen. Foam. If you are so strong, you cannot remain hidden forever. The moment you appear on any location within the Blood River continent, as long as I find out, I will make you understand the consequence of killing my, Sa-young's, disciples. In the space above Blood River continent, the automaton ship flew with shocking speed towards the ancient god ruins. Along the way, during these past 2 months, Luo Feng was either in the absolute beginning region listening to classes by Undyings or studying the 9-universe primal chaos tablet, floating blood and time-space scribbles. Either that, or he would return to the Black Dragon Mountain Island to visit his wife and family. His days were fulfilling and carefree. Master, we've already arrived at the destination. Within the training room of the ship, a robotic voice resounded. Ha, we've finally arrived. Luo Feng, who was sitting crossed-legged like a statue, opened his eyes fiercely. Smiling, he became a blur as he rushed out. Ancient god ruins. I've been waiting for this day for too long. If I don't enter the ancient god ruins, when will I be able to absorb the second crystal? Luo Feng wore silver-white armor and boots, and flew out of the cabin door. He changed his armor mainly as a precaution. After the whole incident in Swallow Mound City, a black-armored warrior may be noticed by wary people. Of course, the ancient god ruins were extremely far from Swallow Mound City, and as it was a wasteland, he didn't need to be too worried. Luo Feng flew through the cloud layers from space, and entered Blood River continent once again. Sky Erosion Palace. The huge palace floating in space was specially made to observe the activities on Blood River continent. In the first level's side hall chamber, there was a huge screen. On that screen, one could see the scene of Luo Feng entering Blood River continent. Ha, this Majesty Luo Feng, he's heading to the ancient god ruins too. So gutsy. 10 sector lords in charge of watching over Blood River continent were chatting and laughing. Everybody, be serious. Once our Majesty Luo Feng meets with any enemy and sits in his automaton ship and escapes to the cloud layers, if any aboriginals dare to chase him, we have to kill them in an instant. Understood. Of course we know this. However, the ancient god ruins is the most important and also the most dangerous place in Blood River continent. Back then, many of our Undyings from the Virtual Universe Company were said to have died there. Also, that place is very weird. The place Majesty Luo Feng is heading to is very dangerous. The dangerous level mission he chose forced him to head there. One's path is chosen by himself. Our Virtual Universe Company never forces anyone to do anything they don't want to do. However, no matter how much of a genius he is, since he's chosen to enter the ancient god ruins, we must keep an eye on him. Riches and honor come with an element of danger. Even though it's dangerous, if he makes any progress within the ancient god ruins, it wouldn't be a small amount. Not only are the ancient god ruins mysterious, but the Blood River crystals are very mysterious too. The group of sector lords were chatting, and the entire space above the cloud layers of Blood River continent was under their surveillance. The clouds were thick and covered the land, almost like a fairyland. Dressed in silver armor and boots, he descended through the clouds. Luo Feng's expression changed. It should have been the 15th cloud layer below. Why are they blood-red clouds? The endless clouds below were completely blood-red, just like an endless blood ocean torrent. The terrifying formless killing aura here made one's heart palpitate. He couldn't care less though, as he rushed downwards into that blood-red cloud layer, he immediately felt a special energy affect him. He suddenly felt restless. His heart was in disarray, almost like he was wishing to slaughter. It actually fills one with the thoughts of slaughter. However, Compared to the golden horned beast's natural bloodlust, it pales in comparison. Luo Feng's heart was sturdy and immovable. He continued downwards, rushing past layer after layer of blood-red clouds, finally reaching the first level. He surveyed below. An endless mountain range, wasteland, swamp, and other environments could be seen. However, the ground itself was peculiar. As for the mountain ranges, it was almost as though an entire layer of it was sliced off, or cut off. The wastelands, however, had huge pits all over, and every one of them were a few 100 kilometers in diameter. One large pit after another. It was almost as though it was some extremely huge beast's footprints. The most important thing was, the region below was filled with thick red mist, and because of the mist, it was hard to see far clearly. Ancient god ruins. Looking at this messy environment, it's indeed in ruins. Luo Feng swiftly gazed about. The ancient god ruins had a diameter of 1 trillion kilometers. This was a bandit and vagrant-filled place. The earth in this vast ruins would be like a drop of water in the yellow river. On the shiny ground, there were several white bones. Luo Feng descended from the sky. As his silver boots landed on a damaged blade, he frowned heavily. This is the killing aura. Luo Feng felt a formless energy continuously invade his mind and heart. Simultaneously, another energy permeated in through his skin. As for this peculiar energy, neither his genetic energy or spirit energy could stop it. It would permeate in and then exit his body again. Almost as though his body was air, it passed right through. And during this process, his body had some special changes. Killing aura. Not right, the killing aura of the universe is purely on the mental level. A person's brutality and slaughter will cause his gaze to be filled with killing aura. However, this killing aura isn't just on the mental level, it even affects the physical body. Luo Feng was extremely sure. His body began to change gradually, changes that even he didn't know about. This was also why the aboriginals of Blood River continent thought that soaking in the killing aura would make the absorption of the crystals easier. At least I can confirm. This change has benefits. Otherwise the dangerous level mission that the Virtual Universe Company gave us wouldn't give a reward of 100,000 points to become a Blood Warrior the second mission. The company is obviously hoping I'd become a Blood Warrior. Luo Feng was confident that the changes were beneficial. Luo Feng strode forward and it was already 10 kilometers. In this vast ancient god ruins, Luo Feng began to move with shocking speed, as he was feeling the changes the ruins did to his body. The killing aura is thicker here, and it's weaker here. The thicker killing aura seems to have stronger effects on one's mentality. At the same time, the improvements on the body are also faster. Luo Feng had already found that the killing aura was raising a special property within one's cells. The weaker the killing aura, the weaker the effect on my mentality, the body's changes are also slower. I need to save time. Hence I have to find a place with thicker aura. Luo Feng swiftly rose up and flew into the skies searching about. Detecting the level of the aura was easy, he could easily see which regions had thick red mist or more diluted mists. Most of the regions simply contained a lighter mist, and some had thicker red mist. Luo Feng searched for a good half an hour within an extremely large, ancient mountain range. There. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Within the distant forest in the mountain range, the red killing aura was obviously shockingly much thicker. Luo Feng carefully flew over, noticing that there wasn't anybody else around. The books had mentioned that there were many warriors that entered the ancient god ruins, yet he hadn't seen even one so far. He thought that everybody would have the same thought of entering a spot where the killing aura was thicker, so that they can improve faster. Nobody. Luo Feng entered the thicker aura region. This feeling feels good. Luo Feng felt as though countless water drops were seeping into his every cell. As the thick aura floated past his body, he felt a very obvious change. As it was very obvious, hence he felt extremely clear. In the depths of his cells, it could be said that a change was occurring at the very essence of his cells and body itself. Almost like a caterpillar within a cocoon becoming a butterfly. Kill. An endless amount of killing intent rushed into Luo Feng's soul, and because of the changes in his body, it caused a large amount of the slaughter thoughts to invade the deepest part of his body. As time passed, it would meld with his soul itself. Those with weaker willpower will thus go crazy. Even the ones with strong willpower would become addicted to killing others. What shocking killing aura and willpower. Luo Feng stood beside a thick tree, patiently standing. That endless killing aura continued to invade his consciousness. It was even stronger than the first Blood River crystal. It was obvious that the thicker killing aura areas was something not everybody could endure. First and second brother had said before, any place with a strong sense of desire is a good place to train one's mental strength and heart. This killing aura will help train my heart further. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged under the tree. A ghostly figure flashed in the distance, after which it reached right before Luo Feng. A glaring flash of a blade pierced right at Luo Feng's head. Over 100 images of Luo Feng appeared around. Rumble. The thick tree behind Luo Feng immediately exploded into countless chips and pieces flew all over. In an instant, the surrounding ancient trees were either falling or broken at certain parts. A huge explosion could be heard. You actually dare to ambush me, you must be looking for death. Luo Feng's eyes raged. With a howl, a blood shadow blade appeared in his hand and he immediately pierced at the ghostly silhouette that appeared before him. That ghostly silhouette suddenly decided to flee without any hesitation as the assassination failed. Trying to flee. Luo Feng's gaze was cold, becoming a blur as he swiftly chased. After reaching Universe Level 9, his speed was simply too fast, crossing over 300 kilometers in a second. The two of them flashed for several hundred kilometers about, eventually reaching above the canyon. His speed cannot be a match for mine, however his step through the entrance of the wind laws, hence his movement is peculiar. It's a pity that his comprehension is very low. Luo Feng's eyes flashed with killing intent. During the instant he flew past the canyon, his spirit energy connected with the universe space suddenly as he felt a ripple. Not good. Luo Feng's expression changed. Below the canyon, a 3m tall armored warrior wielding two huge axes rushed from below. His eyes were like copper as he roared, "Go and die." Rumble. He swung his two huge axes. Ha ha, who's afraid? Luo Feng held his blood illusion blade, not even dodging. His gaze was cold and brutal, his entire being tilted downwards and swiftly rushed downwards. Simultaneously, he used the force of his descent and accumulated all his strength into his right arm, as the blade began to meld with the universe space and gold laws. The blade brought with it an absolute madness, as it slashed downwards. The warrior below too waved his axe fiercely, slashing over. A needle-like spirit energy pierced into Luo Feng's consciousness, crashing into that extremely sturdy void pagoda, causing it to slightly tremble. Obviously the attack was very strong, affecting Luo Feng's consciousness. Rumble. The blade and the axes clashed. That brutal and wild warrior was naturally gifted with strength and power. And Luo Feng's blade was burial of the illusionary 7 blades, it too was very powerful. Although it was infused with 2 origin laws, it was a pity at the critical time his consciousness was affected. That warrior's body shook from the impact, his face flushed red as he spit out blood, losing control of the huge axe in his hand as it flew out. The axe became like a shooting star, flying straight into the mountain beside. With a rumble, countless rubble and stones fell. He couldn't help as his body fell down, and his right hand was torn apart. You wish to flee? Luo Feng wielded the blood shadow blades and madly descended chasing him. How can this be? As he was descending, he looked back with fear at the silver-armored warrior chasing after him. He is also a universe level 9. In terms of speed he's even faster than Shadow. And he even met my attack head-on. Under Demon's spirit attack he actually even heavily injured me. Is he a human or ghost? Luo Feng flew downwards. His gaze was as sharp as knives, as he was staring at the built huge axe warrior and waiting for a chance to kill him. From below the canyon, large amounts of gold light suddenly shot out, brushing past the warrior and piercing towards Luo Feng. Spirit weapon. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Immediately before him, 1,000 little knife blades appeared and the black blur of countless blades could be seen. This was after Luo Feng had almost lost to Rockwind Xiong. He specially asked Barbata to build a simple sharp knife blade. Even though these blades weren't expensive or anything, and were just simple blades. However, Luo Feng, who had already glimpsed some of the essence of the universe space laws, even without any law engravings on the spirit weapons helping, could still use the space laws to move them. The engravings on the spirit weapons were only there to assist, allowing others to use it more easily to attack. However, a true skilled warrior didn't need those. With a thought, one would break through the space itself, and with another thought, one could even reverse time. Luo Feng couldn't do that. However, as he had already glimpsed the essence, even without the help, he could still use law-infused attacks. Naturally, doing it this way was more taxing and the power was weaker. Absolute domain. Luo Feng stared at the large amounts of golden light. The countless blades before him formed 11 black blade dragons. Every one of the black dragons were formed from large amounts of blades. Also, all of them were connected to the universe space. These 11 dragons were like 11 ropes, pulling the universe space, causing the space to pressure downwards. Countless golden lights slowed down, dispersed by the black dragons. The 11 black dragons however continued to rush downwards at the built warrior. Mercy, I'm from the Undying Shrine. A shocked voice resounded within Luo Feng's ears. Below the canyon, standing in the sky, a long blood red-haired cool youth revealed a look of shock. How can it be, he actually knocked away my spirit weapons. My spirit weapon was personally built by the undying spirits. His speed is faster than Shadow, he could even block Demon's spirit attack, meeting that brutal punk head-on, and even knocking away my spirit weapons. Just who is he? The cool youth was completely shocked. However, in spite of that, he still communicated to Luo Feng for him to show mercy. We are from the Undying Shrine. Please let Wu Qi go. Two other silhouettes flew from the above the canyon, one was the Shadow that tried to assassinate him before, and the other was covered in a black uniform wearing a mask. You all tried to kill me for no apparent reason just now, and you still wish for me to let you off. Luo Feng used his spirit energy to control the 11 black blade dragons, immediately smashing into the built-huge axe warrior, who was trying to defend in a last-ditch attempt, exploding his body. Fresh blood flew everywhere. The 11 black blade dragons immediately rushed downwards, towards the blood-red long-haired cool youth. That cool youth was shocked as a round disc appeared below his feet, immediately becoming a beam of light and fleeing. As the two originally had quite a distance between them, and a spirit weapon control range had a limit, even though the 11 black blade dragons were extremely powerful, without the help of law engravings, it was taxing for Luo Feng to control them. Quickly flee. Shadow from below along with the black uniformed youth quickly rushed into a universe ship that appeared before them and swiftly escaped. Damn. Where did these people come from? Luo Feng was shocked from the situation, floating in mid-air in the canyon. One of them has a spirit weapon and a flying spirit disc. Even in the universe, they would be considered truly exceptional spirit weapons. And they actually carry a universe ship, obviously even better than the ship of the envoys before. At least its speed is much faster. With a wave, the 11 black blade dragons swiftly disappeared. Luo Feng swiftly descended, landing on the ground of the canyon. There lay the remains of the built warrior. Space item. Luo Feng found that warrior's space bracelet and took it. Doesn't seem right, these 4 universe level 9s were too strong. One of them was even extremely fast, even stepping through the entrance of the wind laws. Even among the universe, any universe level who steps through the law entrances would be considered an absolute genius. Just one spirit attack could actually shake my void pagoda. And that brute could take my slash head on and not die. And the last controller, the strength of his spirit weapon wasn't weak at all. Peculiar. On Blood River continent, this sort of place, where did so many geniuses pop out from? I'll leave here first and check it out slowly. Luo Feng didn't dare get careless. He immediately became a blur and flew swiftly towards the deeper regions of the ancient god ruins. Anyway, the ancient god ruins was vast and endless, he could start anywhere. In the cloud levels high above. 3 silhouettes gathered in mid-air. It was the Shadow, black uniformed man, and the blood-red long-haired cool youth. However, these 3 weren't as arrogant as before, and all of them were extremely shocked. How can he be that strong? Shadow's voice was deeper, however it was clear she was a lady. We are all exceptional geniuses from the Undying Shrine in Blood River continent. We've all come to the ancient god ruins to experience life and death training. Without combined forces, against a similar universe level 9 youth, we actually, couldn't do anything against him, for against one. The cool youth shook his head. Too vicious and too strong. He is absurdly strong. He has already stepped through the gold and space origin laws, also, his spirit weapons obviously didn't have any law engravings and his power was still greater than mine. Strong. Very strong. The black uniformed youth with a mask said solemnly. My spirit attack didn't even affect him, he still managed to slash and heavily injure Wu Qi, who was unable to do anything. The 3 of them were completely dazed. They were all proud absolute geniuses, the exceptional geniuses of Blood River continent. They had been heavily nurtured from the Undying Shrine. Even higher than the special envoys. Proud geniuses or not, they too had to experience life and death trainings. There's always a sky above ours, we cannot be proud. There are still many geniuses that haven't been discovered here on Blood River continent. The one from today was very strong. We'll continue our training. The Undying Shrine's request for these geniuses was that they had to absorb 3 Blood River crystals before they could return. Otherwise, they'll just have to die at the ancient god ruins. The 4 that fought against Luo Feng were the absolute geniuses of Blood River continent. As they didn't have the virtual universe network, in terms of information exchange, and recruiting geniuses alone was very hard. Many absolute geniuses would be never found. By the time a true warrior is finally discovered by the strong, that would have been a waste of the best nurturing period already. Compared to those 4. Luo Feng was from the vast humanity of the universe. Through the mad search of the virtual universe network, competing time and again, selected through trillions of geniuses, and proving himself through battles over and over. Finally reaching the universe top 10. And right now, he was regarded as this batch's absolute genius next to Bolin. However, after studying in Primal Chaos City for 30 years, how could those four compare? Luo Feng didn't have an aim, walking and training within the endless and vast ancient god ruins was his goal. There were many places with thick killing aura, there was no need to stay at one spot. Half a month later, Luo Feng stood above a 100,000 m tall mountain. Looking into the distance, there was an extremely huge pit. What a huge pit! I had seen many huge pits before with diameters several hundred kilometers, they were quite orderly. Why then is this pit was absurdly bigger? Its diameter is close to 10,000 kilometers. I'll go take a look. Luo Feng originally wanted to walk and train, so as to explore the ancient god ruins more. At this time, however, he couldn't help but curiously head to the huge pit. A huge pit with a diameter of close to 10,000 kilometers, just what was it? Even if the moon was thrown in it, it would barely fill it up. Luo Feng stood at the edge of the pit, feeling a weird energy emitting from within. This energy was vigorous, ancient, mad. What a thick killing aura. Luo Feng gazed. He couldn't see the end of this huge pit. Initially, even when he stood at the 10,000 meter tall mountain, he could barely see the edges of the huge pit. However, as he stood here now, no matter how he looked, he couldn't see its end, almost as though it was vast and endless. This huge pit seems like a good place. It's extremely deep and the killing aura is really thick. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Revealing a smile, I can build a living quarters here in the pit and train for a long time. For the past half a month, as he didn't have a fixed goal, he had been wandering randomly. But the main reason was that half a month ago, he met the 4 universe level 9 geniuses. After he killed one and acquired his space item, a good scan revealed something. The dead warrior too had a universe ship and communication device. Barbata's invasive scan of the communication device had revealed a recorded message within it. From the details of the message, he could deduce the dead warrior was called Wu Qi, and he was an elite genius nurtured by the Undying Shrine. A genius nurtured by the Undying Shrine. I may have some trouble from some absolute warriors. Back then Luo Feng thought. As this Blood River continent wasn't his home ground, he had rushed into the 18th cloud level and sat in his automaton ship, flying for 10 billion kilometers before coming to a stop. I need a safe spot to settle down for a long period of time to study my 9 universe tablet properly. Luo Feng jumped down from the edge of the pit and descended. The killing aura is really thick. Good spot, this is a good spot. Luo Feng's face was filled with glee. He allowed the gravity to pull him down and eventually came to a stop after descending for 1,000 kilometers. Looking at the sides of the mountain, Luo Feng nodded. Right here is a good spot. I'll dig a hole in the wall of the mountain and stay here. As for the bottom of the pit, who knew just how deep this pit went for? Only when he had the time would he decide to go and check. Luo Feng finally set his roots down in this huge pit. With his ability, he was easily able to dig a 100 m wide, 100 m long and 10 m tall space for himself. He also renovated it by carving several stones into statues, along with carvings on the walls, making it feel like a normal home. As for this living quarters, Luo Feng proudly named it Huge Pit Quarters. There was a pathway deep in the huge pit quarters that linked to the side of the mountain wall. The silver-armored Luo Feng and Moshe Luo Feng simultaneously sat cross-legged on a rock bed. Yes. His Earth body and the Moshe clan were both in the external world together. After all, the Moshe clan body was very sensitive with the universe space. Thus, the moment any warrior drew close, he would be discovered, and in times of crisis, the Moshe Luo Feng could become a bodyguard. This killing aura is unique to the ancient god ruins, and its effects are really obvious on the body. Luo Feng suddenly stood up. Moshe Luo Feng beside immediately vanished into the internal world. The only thing is, my Earth body and the Moshe body both have clear pathways to train, but what about the golden horned beast? Deities of the world and absolute void were definitely emphasized, however the golden horned beast still lacked a battle technique. There were many techniques within its inherited memories. Long before Blood River World, Luo Feng had thought about this problem. Even with Barbata's help, he only managed to narrow it down to 12 selected techniques for Luo Feng to pick. However, the choice was simply too hard, and he only managed to pick 3 out of them. They were 8-level hunt, tearing sky and land, gold horn. These 3 techniques were all very powerful. Luo Feng's thoughts were to let the golden horned beast try these 3 first and train in them. After observing the results, he would then pick the technique which he is most proficient in. All of these 3 great techniques belonged to close combat. 8-level hunt, focused on movement. Tearing sky and land, focused on close combat violence. Gold Horn, focused on killing in one blow. Even though they were all powerful, each of these three had their own specialty, be it movement, one-hit kill or violence. This is really troublesome. At times, with endless choices before you, it does bring about a headache. Luo Feng sighed. After saying those words, he couldn't help but laugh. Those words were indeed vexing. Even the absolute geniuses of the virtual universe company had to use points to exchange for techniques. This was totally unlike the golden horned beast, picking whichever techniques from the inherited memories. I cannot get too proud, if I do, I'll be unlucky. I have to be humble. Feeling good, Luo Feng snorted and followed the pathway in his quarters to a point close to the edge of the hole. He sat by the exit and looked at the endless depths of the huge pit below. Before him was the endless amounts of thick killing aura. He stopped thinking and relaxed. Luo Feng frowned as he looked in the distant killing aura. The pit was shockingly huge. Naturally the aura would flow within the depth, forming all sorts of illusionary pictures, occasionally forming very lifelike pictures. At this time, within his field of vision, a blurry 100 kilometers huge picture could be seen in the distance. Faint and distant. It was a picture of a type of huge lizard. The only difference from a real lizard was that it had a horn that pierced the skies. Also, it was more built and its claws were bigger. Within that blurry picture, a huge palm suddenly fell from the sky, and that 100 kilometers long beast actually looked up and rushed towards the sky. As it flew, its long lizard tail waved swiftly and fiercely smashed into that huge palm. Rumble. The picture dispersed and the energies flowed out, no longer forming as realistic a picture as before. This, Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. The blurry scenes from before flashed in his mind. The movement of the beast before was mainly flying and waving its long tail. After which that tail whipped that heavenly palm, causing it to totally crumble. Flight. Tail wave. The picture kept flashing in his mind while he was training the three techniques of 8-level hunt, tearing sky and land and gold horn. During this period, Luo Feng suddenly comprehended quite a bit. As his consciousness were linked, anything he understood and saw, the other two would naturally learn too. The golden horned beast's training naturally was his earth body's training. This is definitely not a natural appearance. It cannot be that a simple formed picture would be infused with so much deep origin laws. Indeed. Deep and profound. Even the simple flight and wave of the tail replayed in his mind. For the tail to actually whip and crumble that palm, its power was unbelievable. This is not a natural occurrence. Luo Feng suddenly thought of how he gazed at the ancient god ruins from above, seeing the huge pits all over, almost like footprints of an absolute beast. This made Luo Feng's mind flash, and his eyes gleamed. Those huge pits could be left behind by a beast from when the legendary battle between the Virtual Universe Company and the Aboriginals of Blood River World clashed. Then, that blurry image earlier, could it be a certain battle scene from back then? Luo Feng was shocked within. In terms of perspective, his was indeed high. He felt that quick battle scene from the picture before definitely exceeded the battle scene of Undyings. Because, in Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng had personally witnessed two Undyings battling, and has also seen his teacher, Truyang, demonstrate his prowess. The only thing was, from the feeling, it didn't compare with that beast or the huge palm. Palm. Luo Feng's eyes stared wide. Huge palm. It was almost as though a clap of thunder resounded in his head. Back then in Primal Chaos City, when the two Undyings were battling, the universe space itself went silent and the laws stopped turning. A huge palm had reduced these two Undyings to dust. Even though they regenerated back, they were heavily injured. The Primal Chaos City leader's palm. Yes, that feeling. Luo Feng nodded. However, this one doesn't seem as terrifying as the city leader's. When the city leader made his move, it seemed as though everything within the universe space was subdued and controlled. And this blurry image, Luo Feng only felt a bit of it. Flight and tail wave. Exciting, this is so exciting. Luo Feng didn't think more of it, grabbing the chance to use his time to study and comprehend it. The more he did, the more thrilling it got. Those two movements made Luo Feng's comprehension of the tearing sky and land improve by leaps and bounds. This was a close combat violent technique, of which tearing sky referred to claw attacks, while tearing land referred to using its tail. Naturally, this was the most simple explanation. However, looking at the ancient picture had caused Luo Feng to be filled with a confidence in training tearing sky and land. That's it, the golden horned beast's battle technique will be tearing sky and land. Luo Feng made the decision. His eyes gleaming, looking at the distant endless aura, anticipating, who knows if I'll get to see another picture. At this time, even though Luo Feng was training within his quarters, the Mosha body had become a rock by the entrance of the cave, carefully examining the aura movement outside. 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year. After staying there for 2 months, the Mosha body had discovered a total of 3 pictures, including the first. From long periods of staying there, he would occasionally see these 3 repeat, not ever seeing another new one. Among these 3 pictures, the first one was where only that huge palm descending from above, the beast waved its tail and flew while dispersing the palm. The second one was where the beast lowered its head, its gold horn aimed ahead, piercing forward as it flew, a simple charge scene. The third one was about the beast that violently waved its claws, slashing forward. Ha ha. I've succeeded, I've succeeded. Virtual Universe, Absolute Beginning Villa 1136. Luo Feng was in his own training grounds, as he was studying, using the floating blood and time-space scribbles to work on the 9-universe tablet drizzle picture. He was finally able to comprehend the 12th wonder. The first to 9th belonged to the most superficial, he had comprehended them back in Primal Chaos City. As for the 10th and 11th, he had made some progress after studying the time-space scribbles, along with some accumulated knowledge from what he saw in Primal Chaos City, it finally came to fruition. And then, he had been stumped for quite a while by the 12th wonder. After 2 years of training in this ancient huge pit, he finally comprehended it. It really is difficult. My consciousness's calculation speed is comparable to a basic quantum computer, and my comprehension ability is high too. Yet, it actually took me this long to comprehend the 12th wonder. Luo Feng sighed. There are the 1st of September, the middle 27 and the final 72. From the middle 27, I've only comprehended 3 so far. When will I finish everything? He muttered, within however he was gleeful. To dissect and study the essence of the universe space laws, would it be that easy? Only those with exceptional comprehension, temperament and talent could do it. Even the genius Lian, Luo only comprehended it after 300 years in Primal Chaos City. Of course, the main usage of time was on the final and hardest 72. 2 years. I've been in this ancient pit training for 2 years, and my earth body has been evolving from the absorption of the killing aura every day. Compared to before, my improvement should be quite huge. 3 months ago, I still failed at the absorption of the second crystal. Now that it's been 3 months, I may succeed. Feeling especially good, Luo Feng decided. Today, he would try and absorb the Blood River crystal again. His consciousness vanished and returned to reality. Blood River continent, within a huge pit of the ancient god ruins. Within the huge pit quarters, the Mosha clansman was sitting cross-legged. His earth body was in the internal world. As he couldn't control his body during the absorption, it was best to do it in the internal world. Internal world. Luo Feng only had on his underpants, as he was lying at the bottom of a tall metal mountain, holding the Blood River crystal in his right hand. He used his right finger to slash his left palm, creating a wound. Fresh blood flowed out. Begin. Luo Feng once again placed the crystal on the wound. This was already the 5th time he was trying to absorb the second crystal. He had failed the previous 4 times. Following that mad killing intent that rushed in and attacked his soul, the familiar feeling once again settled in, his body's every bone and cell all began to swiftly change. I have to bear with it. I definitely have to bear with it, don't collapse. Luo Feng anticipated within. Even though the terrifying pain reached to the depths of his soul, he could bear with all these. The blood-red threads from the crystal continued to flow into Luo Feng's body. Gradually, the crystal grew more and more transparent. Luo Feng's weird body changes gradually grew more intense too. The entire crystal, including the already transparent crystal body, became a peculiar energy, and rushed straight into Luo Feng's body. Suddenly, the originally simple blood-red engraving on his chest had more marks added onto it. The entire engraving now wasn't as simple as before. His entire body returned back to normal as the blood-red engraving vanished, and that mysterious energy permeated into his body's every cell. Luo Feng swiftly got up. I've succeeded, really succeeded. Luo Feng's eyes had a sense of mad glee. In the previous 4 attempts, every single time, it was incredibly painful. But the pain wasn't the problem, the main problem was that he had failed every time. He didn't expect that he would be able to succeed today. The feeling of absorbing 2 crystals. With a thought, Luo Feng triggered the mysterious energy deep within his body. Immediately the blood-red engraving appeared on his chest. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee. Feels different, obviously different. My feeling for the 9 great origin laws of the universe are much clearer now too. His hand became a blade and he began to unleash the illusionary 7 blades. When he did this, he was even more pleasantly surprised. Melding with the universe energies, it's caused the power to rise up quite a bit. Luo Feng was surprised within. Absorbing the first crystal raised my power by 20-30%. Right now it has been raised by another 20-30%. Which means, because of the two crystals, at the same level of comprehension, my power has been raised by 50%. In a life or death battle, with 50% more power, he would be able to completely determine his own fate. Also, as one grew closer to his limit, the harder it was to increase. The golden horned beast's natural ability to strengthen could only at most double the power, and it was already godly. The training for deities of the world was extremely harsh only because the effects were godly. Let me try and see if I can absorb the third crystal. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Even though his hopes went up, he wanted to try. As he tried to absorb the third crystal, that killing intent from the crystal combined with the 2 years' worth of killing intent stored in his body, formed a terrifying killing aura that attacked him. However, just from his willpower alone, Luo Feng could still take it. He was accustomed to it, as he had been living in a dense killing aura area for 2 years. Always bearing with the effects of the killing intent, Luo Feng's mental state was more sturdy and trained now. The willpower attacks were easily blocked by Luo Feng. The third crystal then began to extend its red threads into the wound, and started flowing into Luo Feng. 12 different spots around Luo Feng's body exploded simultaneously, almost like a bamboo that had long reached its limit. Any extra pressure caused it to instantly tear open. One theory was that after absorbing the second crystal, Luo Feng had already reached a limit, and now that he was trying the third, his body couldn't take it anymore. One had to know that the further it went, the harsher the requirements on the body would be. In fact, the harshness was 10 times more each time. Damn. Looking at the recovered crystal in his palm, Luo Feng could only helplessly swiftly recover his body. It's okay. I'm already very satisfied with absorbing the second crystal. After I work hard in this place, I can absorb the crystals and train my willpower. I definitely have to stay on. Luo Feng smiled. Normal dangerous level missions only gave 10k to 20k points. Completing a few dangerous level missions would only gather so much. As long as he became a blood warrior and acquire the Blood River medal, he would receive 100k points. What's more, absorbing 3 crystals was good for his body too. Absolute beginning region. Wuka's villa. Normally, Luo Feng, Wuka and Rongjun would all meet here at Wuka's quarters. Luo Feng, you training madman. The moment I called you today you came. That's shocking. Wuka lay satisfied on his sofa, leg on the table before him. If the things a madman does don't surprise you, then he wouldn't be a madman anymore. Luo Feng laughed and lied down on the sofa too. Wuka, bring out your best wine. I rarely come, and since I am here, you have to show the demeanor of an owner. The wine in the virtual universe still cost money. Wuka stood up helplessly. As the virtual universe was a business just like reality, hence the food and beverage dependent Pinghai company could earn so much. Beside, Rongjun laughed too. Money. Wuka, our great Manka prince, what is this little money to our dear majesty? Does it even mean anything? Damn, you two punks. Back then, one of you were a madman and another a savage. Only I was an innocent youth. Who would have thought it'd take me so long to see through you two, that you are both vicious and cunning? Wuka said. He took out a bright jade bottle that was placed beside him, and within it was a transparent glowing liquid that made one completely tremble at the flavor. Hee hee. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Wuka is definitely a brother. Rongjun laughed too. HMPH, this is God drunk, even though it's within the virtual universe, when you drink it it's completely similar to drinking in reality. However the God drunk in reality, just one bottle costs 8,000 mixed elements. And here, I only spent 8 mixed elements. Wuka was obviously proud as he said this. Luo Feng shouted, to buy 1 life fruit 2 mixed elements is enough. This wine sure is so luxurious, stop showing off. Hurry and bring it, I'm already drooling. Rongjun stood up to try and snatch it. Don't rush, I'm coming. Wuka sat down and poured for the wine for 3 of them. Even though it was called God drunk, it didn't knock one out completely, but produced an incredibly feeling within one's consciousness, one that worked completely on the spirit. Good wine. Luo Feng closed his eyes. Nice. Rongjun opened his eyes after tasting and snatched the bottle. I'll pour. When you get one in real life, be a little luxurious. Wuka muttered. Your Majesty is vicious. Luo Feng laughed. We have no money. Rongjun said. Wuka looked at Rongjun, it's been 2 years. You've done so many missions. Just from these missions alone, you should have tens of thousands of points. Tens of thousands, exchanging for a real God drunk in reality shouldn't be a problem. If you are willing, even the Undyings would be willing to exchange with you. Right, Luo Feng. Wuka looked at him. Are you still stuck in that mission? I don't mean to nag, but wasting time is wasting strength. Who isn't grasping their time now and training hard? If you cannot complete it, just give up and take another mission. How can he give up? Every 100 years, you can only take 10 such missions. Hence, you cannot give up any one of them. Rong Jun emphasized. Every 100 years, you can only take 10 such missions. Luo Feng looked at Rong Jun. Where'd you get that from? I just received my 5th mission and got the notice, telling me that every 100 years, we can only take 10 missions. It is to prevent the core members from trying too hard to get points and wasting time on the missions. After all, training and missions, along with studying and comprehension, are all very important. Rong Jun explained. Luo Feng nodded. No matter. Madman, being stuck in one mission isn't good. Wuka said. Wuka is right. Rong Jun nodded. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. You two punks. What, you think I'm wasting my time there? And my strength isn't improving enough. Ha, today I'll go attempt the Heavenly Bridge and let you see. Heavenly Bridge. Rong Jun and Wuka were both shocked as they looked at him. 6th level. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.